Hey, so I was chatting with a buddy the other day who's been thinking about finally stepping up from his beginner guitar to something that can actually take him from the bedroom to a small gig without feeling like he's carrying a suitcase of compromises. He was scrolling through a ton of listings, and the Yamaha FG9 MXNT kept popping up, which got us both wondering whether that price tag was justified or if it was just another nice-looking instrument that would sit in the corner gathering dust. If you're in the same spot, feel free to check the product details on Amazon. The link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing I realized when I dug into the FG9MX is that it sits in a sweet spot between a full-size dreadnought and a more modest concert-size body. That means you get a fuller, richer low end without the arm muscle strain that sometimes comes with a truly massive dreadnought. For people who play a mix of strumming and fingerstyle, that balance is actually a big deal because you can keep the volume and projection high enough for a small venue while still feeling comfortable during a long practice session. The big decision point for most buyers is whether they need that extra bass punch or if they're happy with a slimmer profile. If you're the kind of player who needs to cut through a band's mix or you're thinking about adding an acoustic-electric piece to a setup that already includes a full electric, this model's built-in piezo system is a practical advantage. You just plug it straight into a PA and you're good to go. Now, let's talk wood, because that's where the character of any acoustic really gets defined. Yamaha used a solid spruce top on the FG9MX, which is a classic choice for bright, articulate tones that respond well to both light and heavy picking. The back and sides are made of mahogany, a wood that tends to add warmth and a slightly rounded low-mid presence. Put those together and you end up with a sound that feels a bit like a smaller Martin with a smoother finish. In real-world use, that means if you're playing folk-style songs with open chords, the guitar will sound full and resonant. If you switch to a more percussive style, think of a modern pop acoustic where you're slapping the body while you strum. The spruce top will give you that snap without getting muddy. The Ebony Fingerboard adds a nice, smooth feel for faster runs. It's not the same slickness as a rosewood board, but it does give a slight bite that can help with articulation on higher frets. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is the neck profile. Yamaha chose a slightly slimmer C-shape, which means the FG9MX can suit players with smaller hands as well as those with larger hands who like a bit of room to maneuver. I tried a couple of chord progressions that usually feel cramped on a typical dreadnought, and the transition was smooth, no need to contort my wrist just to reach a bar. That ergonomics factor can be a real money saver because you won't be forced into a comfort upgrade later on. It's also why this guitar is a solid entry point for teachers who have students of varying ages. The neck won't be a barrier when a younger student sits down. On the flip side, the built-in electronics do have a limitation. The FG9MX uses a piezo pickup under the bridge, and while it does capture the natural tone fairly well, it can sound a bit bright when amplified in a large venue without a proper EQ. Some reviewers have mentioned having to roll off the top end a little on the mixer to avoid that harshness. If you're planning on using the guitar only unplugged, you'll never notice this, but if you're serious about gigging, you might want to budget for a small preamp or an EQ pedal to tame the high frequencies. That's a tiny extra cost, but it's something you should be aware of before you place the order. Another point worth noting is the finish. The natural wood finish gives the instrument a classic look that ages nicely, but it also means the guitar is more susceptible to minor scratches and dings over time, exactly what you'd expect from a natural finish. If you're a gigging musician who shuttles gear from venue to venue, you might want to pick up a guitar case or a gig bag right away to protect the finish. That's not a deal breaker, but it does add a small accessory cost that first-time buyers sometimes forget. So, who should buy this? If you're an intermediate player who wants a versatile acoustic that can handle both unamplified sessions around the house and small to medium stage setups, the FG9MXNT checks a lot of boxes. It's especially good for folk, singer-songwriter, and light rock genres where you need clarity and warmth without demanding a massive body size. The built-in pickup means you can plug straight into a PA or an amp for rehearsal.